Trump's power stocks will make you rich. That is perhaps hyperbole, perhaps reality. This is not financial advice, but there's one ticker, BE, Bloom Energy, that I believe is the best stock to buy right now. It is the only company that provides power that doesn't have to be transformed before it goes into servers for NVIDIA, Amazon, Google, the hyperscaler AI data machine learning companies. This is the only power load that directly outputs in a way that connects to those. So let's jump into what that means, what the chart looks like, what their previous spike when the bill for fuel cell tax credits was passed, what that was all about, and why this company is probably going to spike again, in my opinion.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
So here is some deep learning here. Bloom Energy, they natively output this kind of power, and it's the standard for these AI servers, NVIDIA, AMD, and Google. That means AI data centers powered by Bloom fuel cells. So they benefited from the fuel cell tax credits passed by the Senate. This is the spike here in July. And then this spike was their Oracle collaboration. This is the company that can cut electric battery costs by a lot versus the ones we all know and love or don't love, right? So this is the near future. Sure, though, 5-10 year future, go buy Oklo, go. You can't buy Oklo right now. It's literally up here in the stratosphere. But with all the speculation money sort of coming down to earth, some of it never left. These are the other nuclear reactors, stocks that went sideways. Nuclear's not the move right now. Fuel cells have obviously had a lot of investor interest, but with this earnings, it provides sort of a fresh opportunity. So traditionally, I wouldn't say, buy a company that is up 500%, except, and this is why I started out with this info here, if it's the only option, if it's the best option, if it's native, if the people who actually do the work are going to say, hey, you got to use this, you got to use this. And it did have a big move up on the collaboration with Oracle. Oracle already chose them. So, if they can provide the best performance, I don't know if it's necessarily because they're so exactly like basically matched up for these servers or what, but that's what Oracle seems to say, is that this is the best company to power their data center jobs. So if you saw how much the stock went up after that, you would think, hey, if they can do this on an Oracle deal, Oracle isn't NVIDIA, Oracle isn't Google. I mean, Oracle's important, but just imagine what like an open AI deal could do to this. This was the Oracle announcement right here. And that was, maybe it was the Senate bill that sort of lit the spark, and then this, fanned the fire. But my gosh, this is a huge run. So as I mentioned, traditionally wouldn't look at a stock this much up, except for the fact that it might be the only option for these hyperscaler companies, Amazon, Google, etc. And it has earnings. So earnings already happened. Earnings are out of the way. and they provide this high volume. There's some distributed buyers throughout here, where if it gets above here, they're all going to be making money, and then this thing can just explode to the upside. So we'll see what happens, obviously. But it has this risk level of 132. Okay, that would be the spot I would say is the most important. I would rarely look at this chart except to say when there's an after hour earnings, you kind of want to wait for it to close a full day, in my opinion. And, we'll see what happens with Google. Is Google going to give some back tomorrow? It could. That's why I don't think it's a good idea to buy before earnings. You might see this and, your buddy bought some calls here, options, and he made a bunch of money. It's like, okay, fine. But what if he also bought calls on Microsoft? What if he bought calls on Meta? What if he doesn't exercise these calls and Google comes down quite a bit tomorrow? I just think it's more smarter long term to let the candle close and then risk off of that level once it closes. So here's an example of that. Earnings happen, the candle closed, and once you risk a level like 66, sometimes these things just go up from there, and maybe you sell some after a little 5-10% spike. Maybe you are super mathematical and you say every time there's a 2x average daily range of the past week or whatever this is, I sell half of my position. Great, you locked some in. Whatever works for you works for you. I think that this is an interesting spot technically, chart wise, and fundamentally with the information that we're looking at here. So let's jump into a little more about this company. Talked about the Oracle collaboration and the big run after that. Talked about basically the Senate bill, fuel cell credits that helped the stock spike. Did give some of that back, but as you saw, as we see, that could have been, the beginning of the run. So aside from that, there's also just what do they actually do? We don't have to exactly look into the bill that already happened, but we can see that there is some connection to this bill. It is Trump's administration. He did, allow these tax credits to be on the table. And now we just have to say, is this company sort of worth buying regardless? So here is the theme. F-Cell, Plug, and these two that are sort of lesser known. Plug Power doesn't look super investable right now. It is at an important level, but would be great to not buy a falling knife, right? Maybe you're opportunistic and you do, but also good to let earnings happen. Maybe you're like a dancer and you get in and then you get out on a bounce and then you have a cushion going to earnings, but that's over my pay grade for this video. Now, the other company, F-Cell, sort of similar to Plug, but none of them look like Bloom, right? There's obviously some accumulation happening here. And with this earnings result, it definitely shows that there's still interest, even after that massive move up. Solar is also doing well as a sector. If you look at the TAN ETF, Solar ETF is just marching up. FSLR is probably the best looking one, although, I'm not one to say a channel is super easy to buy into. Sure, you might get lucky and it just keeps going up, but it's definitely more advantageous, in my opinion, to look for, sideways action and then you get in and then a stock goes up, like this Palantir example, or maybe an even cleaner example recently, besides the best one of all, which is this volatility sort of contracting here in Tesla that just goes up. But super recently, NVIDIA is kind of like that, but it's just kind of messy, kind of similar to Tesla, but a little messier. not every flag is as beautiful as how you draw them. Like this one, for example, it looks like it had a good move. It's continuing up. This is a biotech though, so you got to be really small position size, and occasionally there'll be some sort of dark pool print or whatever the heck this is that makes it so you don't get what's supposed to happen doesn't happen. But here's an example of so it looks like a beautiful flag, but we'll see what happens here, because what's happening right now is these flags are not all breaking out. So instead of looking for a perfect flag, I'm kind of falling back a little bit more on, hey, what does the company actually do? And value investor people are rolling their eyes right now. But it's like, yeah, you know what? I think that's a really good idea. You can't really just play momentum. So maybe Newegg works out. I am giving you guys some ideas like that because I know there's an appetite for that. But at the same time, maybe you want to risk a level and just say, hey, maybe I'm getting it at the beginning of a big run up. Maybe I'm not, but buying after earnings is kind of a way to do that. Here's an example after Netflix. You bought after earnings. Sure, it dropped down slightly, but you didn't have to risk much to have this thing just pull away from your average. And, suddenly you're up 20% or something. So that's the idea. Bloom Energy. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. If you want to work with me, head to stockscommunity.com. If you just want the videos faster, as soon as they're released, you can click that join button. That's another option. I don't know if there's demand for that or not, so I'm trying it out. Hope this helps. It's not financial advice.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.